Hi. Yeah.
Welcome to part number 2. Don't get discouraged. Now we get twice more views. We'll get amount on one part and amount on. Thank you very much. Go fuck yourself. Yeah. Let's keep going there. Yeah.
Ayo Adesanya.
Ramasaman.
Eugene Wasowski Gallagher.
Alexander Kuzmenko speaking. We just keep going. We missed nothing. Eugene, you were saying?
Self-image.
No, yeah, the to follow on from your idea that we should work on ourselves much more. It means we have to become part of those other groups for how the everyday stammerer deals with their stammer, be it making your job your speech, like to expose it to everyone. Like, here's me, everyone just accept me, because you can ignore my speech, you have to listen to the things I say. Right.
I personally think self-image is very important. How you see yourself dictates how much you stammer. And if not only that, if you're aware of what you're doing, if you can be confident and still stammer really badly, that's because you're not paying attention to your blocks, because you don't care enough, because you don't care. So that's okay. That's one way to overcome stammering, by not caring that you stammer, you overtly stammer. You technically overcome stammering, in my opinion. But if you're like me and many other people who stammer, you care about your speech. And how to overcome stammering, if you care about your speech, is working on your self-image. So stop trying to please people because you're compensating, because you think you cause harm to someone else because you stammer. Become the boss and become who you are internally, and live that life. Try and be happy. And you might stammer less. Just through my own observation of how my stammer works. When I become dominant and assert myself, I stammer less. Like now, I'm not stammering at all. But at the beginning of this video, I felt a lot of tension on my name. And I felt that tension in my stomach. And I could have blocked.
Yeah.
But as it's gone on, I've turned it on. And and now I'm assertive and I'm not really blocking.
Yeah, which is really good. I've seen this in AO as we've been making this movie, and I think it's really nice that he's gaining the confidence, and I fully agree with him. I think once you let yourself go into the world, the stammer becomes less of an issue. It's that moment of holding back. We shouldn't hold back, but I think it's within us as human beings that we hold back. We've got to just surrender to the stammer, surrender to ourselves, and just let ourselves go.
It's not easy.
I know it's not easy.
It's very difficult to...
It's a lifelong journey. I'm an old man now.
Yeah, but what I've done is read books personally on the subconscious mind. Read books on how to control your mind. It might be pseudo-science, but it works for me.
But
do what works for you.
I fully agree with AO. He's been reading a lot recently, and it's really inspired me with the work of John Harrison. It's something that we should all read, and I think I speak to a lot of stammerers every day with the course, and I realise that a lot of them, the issue that I find mostly is holding back.
You should try and get into stuff like the law of attraction, stuff like that, and just working on your subconscious mind, because stammering is your habit, and how to break habits, how to break that subconscious habit. Read about that. That might help you. Help me.
I fully agree with that.
The book which I read, which helped me understand myself, or more accurately throw out my preconceptions, was The Chimp Paradox by
Fantastic book.
What his name is,
Dr. Stephen Peters.
Yeah.
Professor.
That one, it was 3 months where I just questioned everything, and everything which didn't stand up to rational thought got thrown out. Only issue is there's a huge void left, which I then had to fill in with some philosophy to try and bulk it back up again.
It's a very deep book.
Yeah, it is. It's surprisingly deep.
Fantastic read on how one can control their emotions. It's a really interesting book by Professor Stevens.
Yeah, and there are loads of books on that.
And he's worked with a lot of famous people too, like the British cycling team, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's a book similar to that. How to control your emotions to get what you want out of life.
Yeah,
I think emotions are very difficult to control, but through the right support, one can reach that sort of level. I think emotions hit us all. We're born with emotions. We're born with fear. But the thing is, we have to find a way in which we can channel ourselves through it.
Yeah,
and that can take a lot of time.
Recently, I was on Alan Watts. I mean, if we're talking about books and people who inspire us, my latest inspiration is a guy named Alan Watts.
I've heard of him.
He's a Zen master. Right, so right now we're talking like we're pretty comfortable in a room, on our courses, among people who start, right? We kind of made this our comfort zone. We're cool there.
Yeah.
Now how we take it outside, right? But like each time we talk about anyone talking about taking stuttering into the real world, somehow it's always like a psychological issue. It's not even like technical. I think you can make up any stuttering technique, it will work.
I think
in a controlled environment.
Yeah. As long as you add psychological.
I think the major holdback to bring like your speech techniques, whatever they may be, into the real world is a bit like the same holdback if you wear a new type of clothing which you're unfamiliar with. Like if you're used to wearing jeans t-shirt, you wear a suit, you'll be really unfamiliar. If you're used to wearing a suit and you have to go out in jeans and t-shirt, again, you're really unfamiliar. But the people you meet won't know what the real you version is. And that's the thing we have to remember, that regardless of how we look, how we sound, they will form the opinion of the person in front of them. Which, if we go back to the speech thing, if we're uncontrolled stammering, that is the person or the view of you which they will see, which is fine. If you have a speech technique, that is the view of you which they will see, which is fine. The only person who's not fine with one of those is you, because the person you speak to couldn't give a monkey's.
Right. I think that transition of a technique to a real world starts with home, right? Like we wanted to talk about like the first place we bring our new speech is a home, and I think if you play that part right, and it's not easy, if you come home too fluent, you're setting up everyone expectation too high. If you come home like nothing changed, like you creating the base for disappointment and stuff. And I know what I failed the first time. I didn't bring everything right at home. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm cute, wobble up, dub. You know, like this kind of shit. And it always bites back. But now I come home less excited. Everyone like...
Fundamentally, for me, from my own observation again, myself, and watching people, human beings seek acceptance. So whenever we do something which is not the norm, we fight against it, and that's why people relapse. Because a technique is foreign to the majority of people we're seeking acceptance from. Your boss, your girlfriend, your family. So we don't want to come across too different You always want to fit in. You
right.
want to blend in. Unless you're a true leader, which most of us aren't.
Yeah, I fully agree.
1% of us are leaders.
Yeah.
And then 1% who conquer stammering. Because they don't give a F. They're the boss. They do what they have to do and they conquer stammering. But most of us don't have that personality.
Yeah, that's fantastic, yeah.
So a lot of us relapse because we go, in a controlled environment we're fine. Yeah, we can speak. In the real world, people are talking differently. And the only way we can compete is by using a technique. But that might cause a rift in our mind. Oh, I'm not going to get accepted. I talk differently, and then you relapse. That's from what I've seen of my speech and other people.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. Self-acceptance is very important.
Like even going in a support group, if I feel that my stuttering is bad, I give myself 1,000 reasons that I shouldn't go to support group, and I never connected to my stutter. Right? It becomes kind of avoidance, and then I go there like I have to go, and I come, and it's not that Monday.
It's the externalization of is finding an excuse which excuses the thing you want to excuse, but because according to that Chim Paradox book, humans will never blame themselves. They will always find something else to blame, like the tubes are late. I will finish work late. I am too tired because of blah. It's not I don't want to go or I'm refusing to go. It's you think up.
I fully agree.
Now I've substituted the word stuttering for holding back. I tend to blame myself now because I'm not saying stammering is general. It can mean anything. But if I say holding back, why am I holding back? What's happening to me? What am I doing? Why am I not asserting myself? I look at myself instead of saying I'm stammering. That doesn't mean anything. Holding back means something personal to me. I'm holding back. I'm taking responsibility because I am holding back. Stammering can mean I'm stammering because something external is happening. I'm stammering.
I'm gonna take a leaf out of your book going.
It's from John Harrison. It's not from me.
That is actually
one of the most important things is to self-accept who we are. If we're fake to ourselves, then the old fear and the baggage comes back. Then ultimately you block, and then a vicious cycle appears. So my advice is to be ourselves and to really not be fake. If you block, you block. If you don't, you don't. Hey ho.
Yeah, well, yeah. So we come out of comfort environment and we want to go into outside world where we see this hexagon and this illusion of possibility of self-actualization. Right? In between that transition, and I think the way we start our transition, deliberate disfluency basically. This is step number one. You come out of therapy, you want to be self-actualized, you stutter, you better start to stutter in control.
It's something that I love doing on the tubes and the buses.
Deliberate disfluency?
It makes you feel like yourself. When you use DD in the public, it's really something that's really important.
One could say stammering uncontrollably is the real form of deliberate disfluency. Because before you would hide it, but if you just let yourself block, that's the real shit. Maybe.
As long as
that's what if I'm honest, that's what I've been doing lately. I've been blocking. I've been blocking a lot lately, but I'm trying not to let it affect me psychologically and see where it takes me. So I've done the control stuff.
I totally get it, dude.
I've done the. I can speak fluently mechanically. I've done that now. I've reached the level, and if I go crazy, if I mess up, I can always go back to that. But now it's time to move on.
I fully agree with this man today. He's on fire. And the thing is, when you stammer out of control, you feel like the boss.
Redefining Stuttering by John Harrison.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Okay. And we start from deliberate disfluency, which is easy, right? And then when that is not enough, we should make it more complicated. And I think the last form of complication is to use your real stutter as a deliberate disfluency. I totally agree with you.
So hard.
We spoke about it like a few months ago, right? Remember?
It's so hard when you're having a real block and you're trying to stay conscious. You know, when I used to block, close my eyes, I was zoned out. I don't know what's going on until the block passed. But now I'm in the block. I'm blocking. I'm conscious. I know what I'm doing. I'm in the block and I'm trying to bring it back. That's the embarrassment, the pain. But if you can go through that enough times, maybe it might dissolve the stuttering. I don't know. I'm still experimenting.
Right.
Fully agree on that.
Yeah.
And deliberate disfluency has 50 shades of grey, like literally. Not in that way.
We're watching out for It's the BDSM of stammering.
In a way, well, first we start to... you said that you do deliberate disfluency on a train. Can you show on us, like, do deliberate disfluency on me right now or on anyone? Do it. How you do it?
How do I do it? I'm
Don't think about it, just go for it.
speaking to my girlfriend.
Oh, do it.
Then I use deliberate disfluency, and the people around me are like thinking, that guy is a boss. It empowers me when I speak like this. And people are like looking at you like, I'm feeling self-acceptance. It takes me to a newer level. Because to me, it's something that's really good for me, you know, and it's been one of the key solutions.
Can you do deliberate disfluency on any sound, like on A too?
Use it.
Like,
You're not in the shop.
all right.
Come here.
Right, so the way I've learned to do deliberate disfluency really is I can see Eugene. Right, well, the way I was taught originally, I had no idea how to do deliberate disfluency. The whole idea was ridiculous to me when I heard about it. The way they taught us that you pretend that you stutter, like you know, like that kind of like hard, you know.
That's serious.
That's serious shit. The easiest way is just prolong exaggerate the technique, like Ramesh, that can be, but
That's tough.
that shit is stuff. Yeah, like do that. So we can always take it further. And where is taking it too far? There's no such
I don't
thing.
think there is too far.
There's no such thing, right?
Maybe
I've tried to
when-
reach there, but
maybe when you invade someone's personal space.
Looking at the Harrison work, there is no such thing. It's too far.
There's nothing, because you shouldn't be judged on how you speak.
He took it to a level. So what I'm saying, by deliberate disfluency, it can be any way you sound, as long as you're in control of what you sound, and how you sound. Like you can act. Like if I speak like Bane, like doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan. And I'm being too busy with it doing Bane. I would never stutter. This is deliberate disfluency. If I talk, you know, like outside, excuse me, do you have time? You know, like, or doesn't have to be like Bane. It can be whoever.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, what's the next topic? You got one?
All right. Well, the next topic, I mentioned holy man syndrome. What is the holy man syndrome? Is when person come across some information And for that person, information is so mind-blowing. It has to go and share with everyone. Like when I first found prolongation technique, I thought this is the hidden hold on our language. That helped me so much. I would promote everyone. I would ask everyone to do it. You starter, do this, do this. I became a holy man. I thought I found this cure for stuttering, right? I go to support group where people have no idea what I'm talking about. And I grab them and I tell them, you need this therapy. You need this therapy. I went through, so you go. There are many people
Definitely.
with the holy man syndrome on our program.
Is that a bad thing? I'm not so sure.
Holy man syndrome.
It's a bad thing if you don't know what's going on with you. Yeah,
Okay.
you become corrupted with idea. You believe that your knowledge is above everyone.
I see.
And you will do bad things meaning good. Like you will start pushing people in what helped you personally.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go to a hate zone. Unfuck.
Anyone got opinions on that? I believe that stammering is so complicated, and even the scientists don't know what causes stammering. The scientists treat stammering, the vast majority, as a physical problem. They go for the genetics, they go for the speech mechanics. All their scientific studies, they go to genetics. How is that going to help me?
But we kind of know it.
In present day, it might be genetic, but I can speak by myself when I'm alone. For me, that's proof enough that there's nothing wrong with me. It's in my head. That's just for me. But that could be wrong. That could be wrong.
Let me prove you wrong.
But that's just for me.
Let me try. When you text, do you ever text anything like twice?
No, I miss words out.
You miss words
I
out.
miss words out. I've noticed.
I text things like I type twice.
Tom Wheeler says stammering is an entire communication problem, not just a speech. So, and there's evidence for that.
There was some recent news on a scientific journal, I forgot which one, I apologise, which was they basically put fluent speakers and stammers in an fMRI scanner, a functional MRI scanner, magnetic resonance imaging, to see what part of the brain's lit up when you speak. So in the control group, you had from their sample of people, they took their average brain activity as normal. Like it had like activity in the front part, which is your conscious thought, your motor cortex to organise all your actions, and then they put some stammers in there, obviously at different times, and asked them to speak, and they found their activity was pretty much normal until they started stammering, at which point the blood flow to the front part of their brain, which like for your logical thinking, that had less blood flow when you were stammering. So you can literally stammer yourself stupid, but only temporarily.
But it's
Really interesting.
Our brains different because we stammer, or because stammer caused our brain to change. How old were these people? Babies?
No, I think
adults. It's
adolescents.
Cause and effect.
It could well be that it could well be that the activity in that part of the brain drops when you stammer, hence it takes
Yeah.
less blood to run. Or there could have been some other weird event which would have restricted it, like, you know, blood vessels respond to various stress hormones and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
If the wrong blood vessels grow in that area,
Well,
when you get stressed out,
Yeah. Well, what I was saying is, why is there a difference? How can they say our brains are different because we stammered? Because we stammer, maybe our brains were different from the get-go, from
And
birth.
that's why we started.
That's
Yeah.
or because we picked up stammering and it changed our brains.
is either going to be,
No one knows that.
yeah, it's most likely going to be developmental. Like, either your brain activity is changed
Because
at an early age, which makes you stammer, or you
What
have
came, chicken and egg, what came first?
have a reaction which then changes how your brain behaves. So it's like
No one
one
knows.
way for
No
is
one knows.
most likely going to end up being one way for half the people, the other way for the other half.
Maybe, yeah.
And
I actually have an answer to chicken and egg dilemma. The answer, they came out simultaneously. No one was first. In terms of stuttering, I know it's debatable.
I just thought of the punchline to that joke, which is scientifically accurate. Which is, the egg came first because chickens evolved from dinosaurs, and reptiles had eggs long before chickens were invented.
Okay.
Same answer. Well, you're right, absolutely. But if we consider dinosaur being a chicken, we can ask the same question to a dinosaur, and the question will remain the same. So, my point was, like, I'll give you an example. One day I was so fluent, like I thought I was fluent, and I was so talkative and stuff. But then, at the end of the day, my wife asked me, like, Alex, like, you've been stuttering like so much today. Like, why don't you use your techniques and stuff? So my perception on myself was, and I wasn't blocking. Because I noticed my blocks, but I was stuttering like to a point that I don't notice. But so I think that answering the question, what came first? I think technical difficulties come first, but stuttering, as we know it, like as blocking, as a negative emotion, it generates later as a psychological issue.
Yeah.
And from that, like, as you had the same symptom as me, like, years ago, which I still fall into, that to protect your perception of yourself, you mentally blank out all the stammering. You can stammer like a beast, but to you will not notice any of it. You'll think you're completely fluent, everything's fine. But then someone else comes along. Like, for me, it's always my dad picks me up and says, like, fix your speech because you're stammering. And I was like, thank you for the reminder, because I completely forgot about it.
But is that a good thing he's done that? Because in your mind you were fine.
Yeah.
So he's messed you up. Because it's so complicated, isn't it?
I really appreciate being picked up on it, because otherwise I would just carry on thinking I'm fine.
But you are fine. Some people will say you're fine because you didn't give a shit. So
this was...
that's the point. See, it's difficult, isn't it?
This
Self-actualized, actually.
Yeah.
At that moment.
More self-actualized now, but this was years ago, so before any Maguire course, before even I was doing all the other speech therapy stuff. In my mind, my speech was fine. Everyone else was saying it's terrible. I was like, I can't see what's wrong with it.
Wow. I wish I was like that.
And then it's only after I'd been on the Maguire course, and then I had relapsed. Then it clocked, and I was like,
So before any course, Was you happy?
Yeah,
So,
I
in my
was completely
opinion-
fine
In
stammering.
my opinion, they fucked you up, mate. They ruined your life,
Well,
mate. They fucked you up. It means you're aware.
No, it's I think
It's like
I-
Adam taking an apple.
I might have not been consciously aware of it, but it was having an impact on my life.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like I would purposely avoid speaking. Like I was stammering, but dealing with it emotionally as opposed to
Okay.
intellectually.
Okay.
And then having relapsed and having gone back on the course and so on, I then processed my speech intellectually, which then brought me a lot further forward.
Okay.
Yeah, because in terms of me, this Christmas, I've just been very open and honest about the way that I'm speaking, the way that I stammer. Because it's given me a sense of empowerment because people have accepted me for who I am and they don't see it as a big problem. So we have to self-accept and just let out our personality.
How do you
Because
self-accept?
nothing great is perfect. Jimi Hendrix would say he wasn't perfect. Elvis Presley, low self-esteem sometimes, and I think it's this sense of self-acceptance, this sense of insecurity that can make you really great. Low self-esteem can actually be the thing that really pushes you out there and really enables you to succeed, And I see my stammer as a good thing because it's a obstacle that I'm overcoming, and also it's something that I've always had this way of thinking because I'm an artist and I really believe in like how different musicians, how different artists and how different actors have really portrayed themselves and really overcome their own insecurities, because a lot of these musicians that I know have had their own personal issues in life growing up, and I think you have to be open about it, and once you're open about it, then great things happen. Insecurity breeds security if you're open and honest about it. It's a barrier that you have to overcome in life, because everybody out there, the Queen, the greatest people in the world, they've all got insecurities. I think this is something that we're born with, but most people don't face their insecurities. I think once you've faced it, then you start getting to a place that you can be happy with in life. And this is my approach to this thing called stammering, because I've embraced it like a tiger, seeing it eye to eye and really breaking it down. I'm gonna fight this bastard.
An example of using insecurities to gain security is 8 Mile. The movie 8 Mile. Eminem. That guy was spitting his bars, and what did Eminem do? He used his own insecurities to fight the other guy. So he said, I'm this, I'm short and I'm this, but I'm still better than you, they're still gonna win. So he used his shortcomings to better himself, and that propelled him to stardom in that film.
They should come from somewhere, you're right.
Is embracing your differences, what makes you unique, is what I view from the most the spiritual side, that God has given us each unique strengths and weaknesses, and while we try to conform to the norm, that takes away from what would make us great. And it's only by taking a step back and being true to ourselves that we can achieve our greatness.
And one thing that I've feared this year, Christmas, is the issue of death.
What?
I've had a death in my close community, but I think once you start thinking about death, then you start realizing that life is really important. There's more to life than stammering. I think once somebody can really portray themselves in that sort of way, I think then you can start to really push out and really start thinking that, hey, there's more to life than stammering. There's more to life than anything, because I think, and also great poets like William Blake spoke about the Songs of Experience, which was talking about that issue and really writing about death. And I think that's something that I'm embracing, because I think death is a very important issue that we should focus on, even when we're here, because I think once we start focusing on that issue, then the whole thing comes into reality. We start pushing our barriers, we start thinking, hey, what mark do we want to leave on this world?
Right.
You know, for me, it's not my stammer. I want to do good things for community. I want to do things that are bigger than my stammer.
Are you suggesting to maybe move our podcast to a morgue or to a funeral home?
We should end of part 2.
Yeah.
It's a bit long. It's a bit long. Part 2.
Not long enough.
No.
Do another one. Do part 3 because the video will be too long.
Thank you for watching, everybody. We're gonna call this as the end of episode 7. I'm Eugene Wasowski Gallagher.
Ayo Adesanya.
Ramasamam. Bye for now.
Yeah. Wabba labba dub dub.